heritage. From the rays of the sun to the radiant glow of the river Niger, from the echoes of Ose Market to the silent prayers rising from the basilica. This city beats like a drum, loud, proud, and unyielding. And the drum finds its rhythm right here on Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When politics unfolds, when decisions are made, we reveal the impact. Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They're feeling school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, so it's 18 minutes past 9 a.m. and we thank you for always staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Welcome to the Polity Thursday edition, this 22nd day of January 2026. You know that we're always glad to know that you are there listening to us any point in time. And of course, I will have to transmute from those societal discussions that we brought earlier in the morning to talk about governance and politics as they are reported by various newspapers this very morning. My name is Franklin Ebeka, and don't forget that we are always live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You can get interactive on that platform. And don't forget to like, follow, and share the post any moment we make a post. You can also join us on our Instagram and the YouTube platforms at Udala Radio. We are there, so let's get talking on those platforms in furtherance of this very conversation. And this very morning, I'm with Tony Odisambeki on today's conversation. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in Danambara. Good morning, in Onitsha. Good morning, in Dosimo. Good morning, everyone. Under the reach of our voice is a beautiful Thursday morning. Today being the 22nd day in the month of January in the year 2026. It's a very happy day, and we are mid in the week. We can happily say happy midweek, because all we hear is happy new week or happy new month or happy weekend, happy Sunday, but we can also say happy midweek, even though we started yesterday. But in any case, we are back to where we belong. This is our own sanctuary, our own sanctuary, where we perfect the truth, we call a spade, we speak truth to power without any adulteration. We are here to serve you. We are here to bring some of these developments down to your doorstep, not just a doorstep, bringing the other side of it, the ones that are not mostly talked about. That's what we are here for. You are welcome. We thank God of Almighty for His mercies, for leading us all through. It's a win for us in everything, because we are all winners. We are all winners. So you are welcome.
Okay, so this very morning, so there are lots of developments in the polity, and the papers have reported them. Of course, you see that Anambra State has been in the news, but beyond what is happening in Anambra State, you might not have seen all of them in newspapers. But I must give you a teaser, because since we live in Anambra, of course, we get to hear things. I must tell you that this time around, it's a stock taking for the government of Anambra State in preparation for the transition into the second term. Sometime, or rather, some days ago, we gave you a little bit about it, talking about what is going on, the expected cabinet reshuffle, and we mentioned that it's like exam on Ogechi. Once there's going to be transition, there has to be a reshufflement of cabinet. In fact, those who are serving need to exit, and then a new one has to be reconstituted or constituted. But this time around, what the government is doing is to take stock how the government has fared in the past 3 to 4 years. Those who are government appointees, how they have delivered in the assignment given to them. In fact, I learned this day there was a retreat for these very political appointees from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., where people were called upon to present what they were able to achieve and challenges they had in the course of discharging their duties. So we believe that from whatever the government will be able to gather from that, it will form the basis of next policies we are going to see in the new dispensation. And also yesterday was Dorime for the National Chairman of ABGA, because Oka was shut down yesterday to celebrate his birthday. If you go to social media, you're going to see some clips of the video, and I must say, people who reside in Oka, they must have felt the presence of what happened that very yesterday. Then, if we leave what happened in Anambra State, of course, EDC is in the news because the company yesterday took time to announce that it has created 5 subsidiary companies who are going to interface with different energy regulators in different states. Of course, we know that federal government passed 2023 Electricity Act, which brought electricity into concurrent list. This time around, a state can now legislate on that. That's why we now have some state governments who have enacted a state electricity regulatory commission. Anambra has one, Enugu has one, I think Ebonyi has one, but now EDC has created 5 subsidiary companies. Anambra has First Power, Enugu has Main Power, Ebonyi has the Eastland, then there is one in Abia, I think it's New Era, and then there's one in Imo State. Then we'll talk about the mixed reactions we have seen trailing the Federal High Court judgments on Labour Party leadership torso. Many of you must have heard about it, but it's like in the North in the Nakwa, those on the camp of Oti and the Nenadi Osman, of course, they are happy about what happened, but Abure is kicking, saying that the court has misrepresented the fact. So by the time we begin conversation, you're going to hear more on that very one. Then Kaduna State remains in the news, no thanks to the recent abduction of over 160 worshippers. As we speak now, there is development coming from the camp of the bandits, which we're going to tell you in the course of the conversation. Also, NAFDAC is in the news because NAFDAC is saying that it's going to begin enforcing the ban on the production and the sale of alcohol in sachet and PET bottles below 200 ml. And it's saying that whatever was the albatross has been cleared because NAFDAC has gotten clearance from Senate to go ahead and begin to enforce. These things are things we can see in various newspapers, and also the federal government move to end the HND dichotomy is also getting headlines. This day newspaper, you talk about Guardian, Vanguard, they all have headlines on this. So we're going to talk more about it when the conversation kicks off in earnest. And if you are ready for today's program, of course, we are ready. And let's go now.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
All right, you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 9:25 a.m. My name is Frankie Nebeka, and we have to look at the papers now to see what the headlines are like. We begin with Vanguard newspaper, where the big story there is about Kaduna. It begins with a kicker that says Kaduna abductions, rescue victims now. ACF Khan, Sokapu, Ekwa, others tell FG. You can see the story on page 5. It has plenty riders, and they include Khan President fault police statement, demand safe rescue of worshippers. Governor Sani proactive despite conflicting reports. Sokapu is an act of violence. Release abductees. PFN. Ada demands apology over police LG chairman cover-up. MBF lampoons police. We will ensure safe return of abducted persons, Governor Sani. And yesterday, the spokesperson for the Nigerian Police Force, Benjamin Hundeyin, I think he was on TV where he tried to defend what the Kaduna State Commissioner for Police did. But people are asking questions. Are we just going to pretend like nothing happened? Is the man going to face any kind of sanction? Because for him to have gone on air to say that there was no abduction, and even threatening those who were claiming that there were abductions, that police might descend on them. So let's see how government gets to react to that. Why we suspended Awujale's election process, Ogun government. The story is on page 10. Another story says court sacks Abure, orders INEC to recognize Nemadi. Osman led LP. The story is on page 9. Losses to fraud in banks decline. CBN intensifies measures. The story is on page 19. FG to scrap HND dichotomy, empower polytechnics to award degrees. That story is on page 9. Davido's dad breaks silence amid son's paternity saga. Check page 8 of this very story. It has a writer says, I have 14 grandchildren. And people have been talking, how Davido's father took to the media. He took to social media to clear things, talking about how things have been, how they were able to go through processes to ensure that they clear whether Davido is responsible for the child, who has been claiming links to Davido or what have you. Plenty of things there anyway. And then other headlines we have here says AU Afrima hails Songolu over 9th edition. The story is on page 10. 5 soldiers killed, many injured in Borno Boko Haram suicide attack. The story is on page 6. Financial inclusion, Nigeria still behind target, CBN. You can see the story on page 20 of Vanguard. Oil thieves operating more sophisticated networks, NAV component commander. The story is on page 12. Bandits always renege on peace deals. The story is on page 5. And who is saying so? Atiku. And it's like Atiku is saying what is obvious, because the bias now, oboli kunye nwe mili BC, no ikunye chaya, can you get by the cup? And that is the story with a bandit. When you strike a deal with them and you think they can keep to the deal when their sources get dry. Okay, so these are the headlines we have on Vanguard, and we have to go back to Daily Sun newspaper. The big story says Kaduna Church abduction. Kidnappers contact victims' families. Check page 27 of Sun newspaper. It has riders demand 17 motorcycles to free 177 abductees. Community requests apology from police for initial denial of church abductions. They will return safely, Governor Sani assures. Oil slips below Nigeria's budget line as oversupply fears. Okay, let's retake this. Oil slips below Nigeria's budget line as oversupply fears rattle market. The story is on page 23. Awujale's 2. Ogun government halts selection process over petitions. Security report. You can see the story on page 27. AU Afrima hail Lagos for hosting artists from 48 African countries. The story is on page 27. EFCC hands over 1.28 billion naira recovered from Sujimoto to Enugu government. The story is on page 29. We saw the video yesterday, so I don't know whether it was a win for Enugu state government or a continuous lap on the face of the government. And the final story here says 183 billion naira Labour Ministry budget. 183 billion naira Labour Ministry budget raises red flags as agencies fund roads, stadia, palace. The story is on page 22 of the Sun newspaper. Okay, so we go back to the Punch newspaper to see the headlines, and the big story says counter-terrorism campaign, FG moves to fast-track trials of 5,000 insurgents. The story is on page 2. It has riders, military, police, NSCDC budget, 204 billion naira for operations in 2026. Security agencies to harvest DNA of notorious terror kingpins. Court issues bench warrant against Turuji Bello linked suspect. And then this one says kidnappers hold 166 Kaduna worshippers, demand 29 million naira deposit. You can see the story on page 2 of the Punch. Otis LP block seeks reconciliation as court sacks Abure. The story is on page 7. Awujale's 2 battle, Ogun halts process, police storm palace. The story is on page 20. I don't know what is actually happening with the selection process for traditional institutions these days. Whether it's in Igbo land or Yoruba land, it's always cantankerous where we begin to see government interventions. Look at the one of this Awujale of I think Ijebu land. For a long time, it's been lingering, and we have seen that people are getting nervous about it, to the point that that was 2 days ago that DSS invited the contestant to come for whatever reason it was, which was not declared. And then another headline here is death toll hits 29 in Pakistan, more fire, dozens missing. And then ICPC to arraign Ozekome Monday over UK property. The story is on page 20. DNA test cleared Davido in paternity dispute father. The story is on page 20. AU Afrima helps Sonolu sponsors after awards. That story is on page 20 of Punch newspaper. And then the last one we are going to take here says Royal Rumble inside power struggle rocking Oyo Oba's council. The story is on page 3. You can see that our traditional institutions have not been spared from crisis of selection. Who is going to ascend the throne? It's been cantankerous and very cacophonic. Then let's look at about this. Let's see the headlines on Guardian newspaper. And this one says Atiku PDP faults FG police over kidnap of 163 worshippers in Kaduna. The story is on page 3. US plans options to protect Christians in Nigeria soon. The story is on page 3. FCCPC moves against unregistered loan apps, revokes conditional approvals. You can see that story on page 2. LP leadership verdict alters opposition politics ahead of 2027. Check page 6. FG affirms plan to abolish HND, empower polytechnics to award degrees. Check page 4. Awujale, Ogun suspends selection process over petitions. The story is on page 5. Khan demands rescue of Kaduna worshippers as police confirm abduction. Check page 29. Nigeria accounts for 63% of West Africa's diesel import from India. That's on business page of 16. AU Afrima hails Sonolu sponsors for successful 9th edition. The story is on page 2 on the Panorama page. I think this headline is almost on all the papers we have this very morning. The AU Afrima hailing Sonolu for hosting 9th edition of that very event. WEF, Trump swaps consensus for hard power rhetoric as FG showcases reforms. The story is on page 6. That's a World Economic Forum Summit ongoing in Switzerland. And with that, we bring you the conclusion of the headlines we have this very morning on the front pages of the 4 newspapers we brought you. So next is going to be for us to get into analysis, which Tony Lisambeki is going to lead. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 9:35 a.m. My name is Franklin Ebekande. For us to now delve into the conversation, get to our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, and join this very conversation. So, Dr. Tony, let's begin from Enugu State, where Enugu State government has received 1.28 billion naira from EFCC, and the money was recovered from the Chief Executive Officer of Sujimoto Luxury Construction Limited, Ola Sijimomi Ogundele. We know the story of how Enugu State government awarded contract to this very company to build smart schools. And from what we gathered, or from what the government of Enugu State said, the man went and did a shambolic project and did not even complete what he was told to do. And next thing was that he absconded, and the government went to EFCC to lodge a complaint. We know the story, and now the government has been able to get back 1.2 billion. Maybe good for Enugu State government, but is that the end of this very story?
Because I don't think that will be the end. It's not about making the recovery. Probably that could be out of court settlement, or they could have used alternative dispute resolution mechanism. But the truth remains that we are most times seeing this kind of rascality. It's just engendered in our system. One could ask, how can this not have been prevented in the first instance, where a contractor thinks he can do and undo and leave the contracts as prescribed, violate contractual terms, and do whatever he wants to do and to get away with it? If you look at the key details of the recovery made by the EFCC, just like you said, about 1,234,350,000. That was the recovery with additional 50,000 in some reports. If you look at the entire recovery, that could be around 1.28 billion naira. If you look at that money, it tells you that is a big money. And we are told that the handover was done yesterday, January 21st, 2026. So, in all of this, you can understand that Enugu State government, just like you rightly pointed out, petitioned the EFCC around February 11, 2025. It took close to 1 year for this recovery to happen. And in such petition, they allege fraud, diversion of funds, and abandonment after the company CEO absconded, allegedly anyway. And the Special Task Force, the fraud section in the Enugu Zonal Directorate, began investigation and recovered the funds. In fact, earlier in 2025, around September, the FCC declared Sujimoto CEO wanted for money laundering and diversion of funds. So the commission, I know they emphasized his commitment to recovering misappropriated public funds. Ola Oluko, the EFCC chairman, I'm aware, also made efforts to continue to trace and recover every remaining cob, as he said in one of the interviews he made. But Nigerians were quick to rebuke him when he said that he had not in any way, throughout his public service, public life, diverted any fund or committed any fraud or misappropriated anything entrusted to him. And he asked Nigerians, if you have seen any or if you know any, come up. But many said, you know what, you must have done a lot to close your traces, and that's why you could come out and tell us that you've not done this, you've not done that. But that's not what we're talking about. So that was exactly his interview some time ago. But just like we said earlier on, Sujimoto was to construct smart schools, and in that they abandoned the whole project. And we've known them as a company that constructs skyscrapers, and they do other things. But I really queried the government of Enugu State, because sometimes you cannot absolve them from blame for giving such contracts to such a name, not known for such a project, not known to have done such project anywhere. The Sujimoto cannot just claim to have done a construction or constructions of smart schools anywhere in the country, because he builds high-rise buildings, possibly hotels, and this is not enough. But he asked, was the contract bidded, or was there any procurement procedure taken? Who were other bidders? You know, these things, I believe they should executed everything. They didn't follow the right process. But it's good enough that they have made such recovery. So, but it serves as a lesson. It serves as a big lesson. You can't continue like this. And there are school. In fact, there was another one in Abia State, another smart school construction. It was a kind of a shabby work. I saw it, and I could not behold. So you understand that the 22 smart school or smart green schools, that's what they call it in Enugu State, that the contract which was awarded sometime around July 2024 with a total contractual term of about 11.46 billion, and you've made a recovery of about 1.2 billion. So what happens to about 10 billion? That is just that. So that is where we are. 1.2 billion or 1 point something billion recovery, fine, but we are saying that a lot needs to be done.
Okay, so Tony, now let's leave this very matter and go to Kaduna City, where Kaduna has been in the news for some days now, since Sunday when that kidnapping happened. That state has been in the news. We know the story how Kaduna State government and police in that very state denied that there was no kidnapping, but the Christian association in the north held its ground that people were kidnapped. And before you know it, they came out with the names, and eventually police made a U-turn to confirm that people were actually kidnapped. But yesterday, when Hyundai, police PRO, was talking, he tried to do a sweet talking, saying that the police did not actually deny that. Rather, the police were trying to calm down the nerves for them to go and verify and not be able to come out with the numbers. But that is by the way. But the newest development in that verse is that the kidnappers have not made any official contact, to the families of those who were kidnapped. But one thing is sure, those who did the kidnapping have been confirmed to be bandits. And the second thing is that the bandits called someone else they know in the community and demanded that the very first thing the community must do if they are going to see those who were kidnapped is that they have to return 17 motorcycles that they lost during the military operations in that very area. Because we gathered that the military is on operations in one part of Kaduna State, and because of that very operation, that these very bandits have lost about 17 motorcycles to this very operation. And according to this very story, each of the motorcycles cost 1.7 million, and these guys are demanding that the community must replace these 17 motorcycles. So maybe if you do the mathematics, it should be about 20 something million, either 28.9 million in total. So this is just like the preliminary that the community has to do first before they now talk about what could be the ransom payment for these guys to be released. And yesterday, Governor Sani was at the very community where he assured them that government is going to make sure that these guys get to return. Now let's talk about the issue. And the issue is, first, let's finish with the police. With what Hyundai said yesterday, it appears as if police was trying to protect its own. But in such situation, the commissioner of police who did that outright dismissal of the reported abduction, should we just leave it like Nigerian Martha, or is he supposed to pass certain kind of sanction for him to know that in such a situation, he don't just make a blanket statement without doing a verification?
Just like we said yesterday, police was so unprofessional. Forget this damage control they have resorted to. They were so unprofessional. You couldn't say that the police was trying to calm down, which now were you calming when there was outright statement that nothing like that ever happened, and where the commissioner of police in Kaduna State referred to those who were making such claim as conflict entrepreneurs. He just invented that word, conflict entrepreneurs. He called them, saying that there was no incident, at no time did any incident happen. He made those statements. So was that kind of statement a way of calming anything down? Very unprofessional in their attitude as far as that issue is concerned. So I don't want to talk about it. I have given it different qualifications. Very dolorous, lugubrious, disappointing, appalling, deceitful.
So something of that nature that he did, does it demand a reprimand from the police authorities? Because if he followed through that press conference he made, he even threatened those he called the conflict entrepreneur that police was going to descend on him. So with this kind of situation, does it require any kind of reprimand from police authority, or it could be classified as one of those errors on the job?
It cannot be classified if where there is institutional operational mechanism. The police commissioner ought to be reprimanded for not doing a diligent work, for being hasty, for being unprofessional. I've said it many times. But here, everything goes. Everything goes. So, in Nigeria, if you ask institutions that do not speak the truth, that do not tell the public the truth, police comes first. Consistently rank as the most corrupt and least trusted public institutions in multiple surveys. UNODC, corruption patterns, Chatham House reports, Syrup studies, and Afro barometer data have all pinpointed the fact that police is the least trusted public institution in this country, with its rank on corruption being so high. So if you look at accusations, have always been routine denial or downplaying of brutality, routine denial, extrajudicial killings, extortion, incidents like mass kidnappings and protests. In fact, I have also noted that the Inspector General of Police at one point acknowledged that misinformation damages the police reputation more than any other institution. He acknowledged that. So, what happened in the case of initial denials of events? After police, when it comes to institutions that do not speak the truth, next is INEC. Because we are expanding the scope. INEC ranks second below the police. Frequently criticized for lacking impartiality, especially around the election process. Their result announcements, handling of disputes, accusation of bias, rigging facilitations, misleading the public on electoral integrity, these are all common forms of allegations that have been pushed against INEC. Even the National Bureau of Statistics, these are institutions that the public do not trust. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, even NNPC Limited, and Ministry of Petroleum, they rank number 4 in the least trusted institutions in this country. Judiciary and courts rank number 5. I know so many people will say they should rank number 1, but I'm telling you, verified survey, they rank number 5 when it comes to least trusted public institution. The presidency and the federal government spokesperson, number 6. The military and defense authority, number 7. Let me stop here. These are their ranking when it comes to the trust the public repose in some of these institutions. This will tell you about police number 1.
Okay, so looking at this development about bandits requesting that 17 motorcycles should be replaced, what's your thought on this?
It tells you the effrontery, the temerity, the audacity, the boldness, the courage, and I must also add their stupidity. Is a case where you will slap me or push me and tell me where to fall. That's exactly what they're doing. You push someone and tell the person must fall here. So if you look around, you find out that they have come out with their demands. They have come out with their demands. They remember they were heavily armed with AK-47 rifles, multi-purpose machine guns. They mounted motorcycle. They used motorcycle for that attacks because the villagers who saw them have begun to talk. They said they came with motorcycle. You know, yesterday when we were talking, I said, Franklin, it could be that they had a standby vehicle where they pushed all these victims inside the vehicle and drove away. It did not happen so, Franklin. They pushed the victims to the nearby bush. They moved through the bush, the bush pathway. That's how they whisked all the victims away. But some of them, in doing so, you remember, you have to go. They would usually wear their gun on their neck and try to coordinate the way they coordinate Nama. That was the way they coordinated the victims. So in doing so, they claim that they lost about how many motorcycles? 17 of them. That's what they told us. And they're now making a demand that, as a matter of fact, that 17 motorcycle must be paid for. And they also gave a figure, 28.9 million. I don't know how they arrived at 28.9 million. Probably they did cost per unit,
Yeah,
right?
yes, they said that one of the bags cost 1.7 million naira.
So they did,
and that's how they came about
37.
the-
I mean,
the
2017.
28.9 million.
And it tells you the rascality. These people have formed their own government. For them, that's their government. Abduct people, worshipping, put them to nearby bush. To date, nobody's talking about their whereabouts. So, can the bushes be combed? Can they be traced? Are people in these institutions, security institutions, are they aware that this could have happened, or were there intel of such development? We don't want to talk about the denial by the Kaduna State government. We don't.
Tony, this very story is showing that one of the villagers, his name was identified as Linus Abu, that he confirmed that on January 11 there was an attack in that very area, and the community was just trying to recover from that very attack, which even forced them to pay the bandits, because he said that the attack happened, some persons were abducted, and the militia forced them to pay 23 million naira as ransom, so that those persons who were kidnapped were released. So after those ones were released, and this one now happened. Now, if you still go through this very report, the report said that these very bandits were running away from military onslaught in one part of Kaduna State. Then in the course of running away, they have to do this, perhaps as a means to offer a shield for themselves in the course of the operation. And then one might want to ask, if that is the situation, what is lacking in the way we coordinate this very onslaught? Because if we are coordinating an onslaught, if you know the kind of people you are dealing with, of course, you should be able to anticipate that if we come from the left, they might want to go from the right, or if we come from this very way, they might go this very way. Because something about this very bandit and the terrorists is that sometimes when they feel that you are closing on them, the next thing they think about is how can they use civilians as a shield and stop the military from the onslaught.
You know, Franklin, what really confuses me most, what really make me go mad about this development is the fact that in Kaduna State we have a number of security institutions domiciled in that very state. Are you going to talk about 1st Mechanized Division headquarters, which is in Kaduna, I think, South local government? Are you going to talk about Rebadu Cantonment, also in Kaduna City? Are you going to talk about Nigerian Army Depot, which is in Zaria? Are you going to talk about Nigerian Defense Academy, which is also in Kaduna City? Are you going to talk about Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, which is in Igabi local government, about 35 kilometers northeast of Kaduna? Are you going to talk about Nigerian Army School of Artillery, Kashia, the one in Kashia local government area? Even Nigerian Army School of Military Police in Basawa, the one in Zaria local government area? Are you also going to talk about the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, Dalet Barracks, even Nigerian Air Force Base Kaduna, even Air Force Institute of Technology? You can go on. Even Zone 7, police has its own zone. I think Zone 7, which has operational oversight, and it's in Kaduna City. You can go on and talk about some of these things. Even the State Police Command, which is normal. With all these security institutions domiciled in Kaduna, we are talking about kidnapping of worshippers. Very, very, would I say irresponsible? More like, I don't want to sound this way, but it is very disturbing.
No,
very disturbing.
Which what the Kaduna governor said yesterday, because yesterday he paid a visit to the communities and he assured them that government is going to make everything possible. Government is going to do everything possible to ensure that those who were kidnapped are released. Do you trust the capacity of the state government to be able to get these people back?
Well, I know, just like we have always maintained here, sometimes to get these people back, it's all about meeting their demands, and they have made demands. They have said that 29 point something million be paid as first installment. They are now having the products because the victims are their products, and the community becomes the customer. The victims' product, community customers. So, and you know, when you come as a customer for a product, you'll be asked, if you don't have the outright money, you'll be asked to make a deposit. So they've asked that such amount be made as a deposit, so that we can begin to talk as a compensation for their own motorcycle. About 17 of them, as they told us. We are told that they came in their numbers. They came numbering over 100 with motorcycles. They all mounted on motorcycles with AK-47. How can you have such an army of people, well armed, operating in a state? No doubt, I'm aware very well that Kaduna.
We talk about this issue of motorcycle since it's been identified. That motorcycle seems to be their commonest means of transportation. Can government of these very states where banditry is very, very ripe develop the policy around the use of motorcycle to see if it can help in tackling this very banditry in that area or in the areas?
We have said that it's the way to go. And these are measures or security measures you must take, and it must be in the interest of national security. I don't know why it is not done so, apart from coffee and all that. See, I've said it many times, because Kaduna is very big. There is no doubt. Let's be honest, because we have to also balance this. Kaduna has about 46,053 square kilometers. Kaduna is bigger than the entire southeast Nigeria. Kaduna is bigger. Entire southeast Nigeria is about 29,000 plus kilometers, square kilometers, 29,000 square kilometers. That is entire southeast. But we have Kaduna being around 46, or just the entire southeast and half of it somehow. So in all of this, I've said it many times that it is surrounded by Niger State, Borno State, Taraba State, I think Bauchi State to an extent, being the fourth largest state in Nigeria by landmarks. And we've seen the concentration of the military formations, as I mentioned earlier, and also security formations in the city of Kaduna State. Remember, Kaduna remains the former headquarters of the northern Nigeria, pre-colonial time and post-colonial, before the creation of states. So we are talking about Kaduna. My concern is, it is something that the governor ought to have nipped in the bud. Can you allow motorcycles to operate the way they operate in that very state freely? It is very abysmal. And I keep asking, the only security measures I've heard the governor take is ransom payment, compensation. And then you started this compensation of a thing. You started this ransom of a thing. And that is why they will come back whenever they run dry. And they make a kidnapping business, because it's a business for them. And once they do that, they will also open you. Since you have started giving, you will continue to give. And most 23 local governments, because I think Kaduna has 23 local governments, we've had incidents in Chinkom, Biringwari, Igabi, Jaba, Kachia, even Kaduna North and South, and even Zaria, Zagon Kataf. I don't know, because Savangari is mostly where the Easterners settle. The Savangari area is also a local government. Even Makarafi, local government. See, the truth remains, it is something the government started on their own. When this insurgency, banditry, terrorism started, and even the former governor devised a means of giving these people money as a settlement, hoping that they will leave. If government fails to give them, they know what to do. And that's what I've been doing. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't the Ubasani, the governor, who many people are now mocking, calling him a denial governor, I don't know the name they have given him, And remember the man, he fought for democracy. He is a comrade. But the way and manner he's handling everything, and people say, why they did what they did? Because of Trump's scrutiny, the American scrutiny. Ban motorcycle in most of these local governments may not only be in all the local governments, because I think there are just few local governments out of the 23 local governments that we've not had incidents in a long while.
Okay, so the next question will now be whether government should give in to these very demands by the bandits to replace the motorcycles, and if government is going to do that, is there any way that they can implant things that can help them to trace where the motorcycles are delivered to? Okay, so let's go for this very commercial break. We'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
NEPA don take light again. Wetin I fit do? Every day fuel don cost. How person wan take survive? I go cook soup today, tomorrow e go sour.
My people, why you dey stress when the sun dey your head for free? Switch to the affordable solar energy wey Wascana Solar Company dey give small businesses and homes across Naija, whether na barbing salon o, restaurant o, supermarket o, or your 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. Wascana Solar get correct durable solar wey go serve you wella. No more NEPA wahala, no more expensive fuel. Let the sun power your business and home for free. And no forget o, solar fans, solar lights, everything dey available. Call Wascana Solar now for 0806 374 2374. I repeat am, 0806 374 2374, or send email to wascanasolar@gmail.com. Visit their office near Olive Relief after Marble Hill School Junction, Okpanam Road, Asaba, or Classic Line Zone 2, A4 Electrical Dealers International Market, Obosi. Wascana Solar, Okumube.
Measles and rubella are deadly diseases. They spread fast, can cause blindness, brain damage, miscarriage, and sometimes death.
Every day, Nigerian children are at risk. But there is good news. The Saints can protect your child. The Anambra State government will conduct a mass vaccination campaign for children 0 to 14 years from 4th to 15th February 2026 to protect children across the state from deadly diseases. Take your child 9 months to 14 years for the measles rubella vaccine today. Complete all routine immunization doses from birth. After the campaign, routine vaccination continues in all health facilities. Vaccines are safe, effective, and paid for by the government. Don't wait. Visit your nearest health facility or vaccination site. Leave no child behind. This message is brought to you by the Anambra State government and partners.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.3 FM. You're listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Ebek, and we have to switch gears now. I'm talking about the issue about terrorism, because on the front page of the Punch newspaper, you see the headline that talks about the plan by the federal government through the Counterterrorism Center to kickstart and fast-track the trial of 5,000 insurgents. So, Tony, we have about 5,000 insurgents who are being held in pre-trial detention, and these guys have not been tried. I'll keep on talking about how we do have detention centers clustered. Is there anything we can do to fast-track trial of those who have been arrested for one thing or the other, especially when it comes to the issue of terrorism? Because we believe that if there's going to be progress in this area, of course, it's going to be is going to be a great impetus in the fight against insurgency in the country.
Well, for me, I have always said that figure is staggering. 5,000 pre-trial, or we call them awaiting trial inmates. Justice must not be delayed. Justice must be quick, must be fast, and well and properly served. I don't want to hear, because anybody and that pre-trial or awaiting trial can be released by the chief judge of the state by going to the case file and probably that the prosecution are not ready for this work, it gets them released and they'll go back to what they do. The chief judge of any state has discretionary power to release awaiting trial inmates, those who have not been formally charged. Just go through their whatever allegations or charge. If they have been charged, if they have not, get them released. And remember, it's only the governor that can pardon those who have been convicted if they have committed state offenses, but then federal offenses. The president, through the prerogative of mercy by the committee in charge that will recommend to either the governor or the president, but the chief judge of any state can release those on a waiting trial. He has such discretionary power, and even magistrates are asked to even visit police detention facilities from time to time within their jurisdiction to find out those who are there if they have been charged. We have said it many times. In fact, police cannot even detain for more than 48 hours if there is no nearest court within a specified number of kilometers or within that vicinity, but 24 hours. Magistrates are, by law, under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, mandated to make return visits to some of these. But did they do it? They comply with it? I don't want to accuse some of them, but I've had a first-hand witness where some police DPOs do business with magistrates. They do returns and all that. See, a lot of rot is going on in the system, but the point I'm trying to make is you can't have such a number.
Is there anything that can be done to fast-track this very trial?
There are so many things. That could be special courts. Special courts. Where we usually have special courts are usually in the area of tax and road traffic. These you could not broadly say they constitute big nuisance. But the ones that threaten the life and the security and safety of the people, we will not set up a special court. We have also said many times that we must go through.
I think there is one special court now for this very trial in Abuja, and there's also one in Niger State, somewhere around Kainji. I think, but I do not know how enough these ones are, and then if we have all the support and facility that they need to be able to do the cases diligently and very, very quick. So no, I was saying that the issue of special court, I think there are two now, one in Abuja and one in Niger State. But what I do not know is if they have all they need, facilities, personnel, and what have you, not to be able to ensure that these cases are treated and given the kind of attention that they need.
Frankly, even our regular courts, they have all these things you are talking about. I think there is this Iwari that says the first child did not walk and you think the second child would run. Let's be honest. There is institutional failure in this country. Not started by this administration anyway. It had been there for a very long time. Weak institutions, institutional collapse, and what have you. Even judiciary, as we speak, judiciary is strangulated because they don't have the manpower. Where most cases that originate from state high courts terminate at the Supreme Court.
What is the problem of manpower? Is it that we do not have people who are qualified to be appointed judges and the magistrates? So what is the problem that we do not have this very manpower to be able to do all this? If you look at the number of lawyers who trying look at plenty of them we have out there. So where is the problem coming from?
We, because of one sentiment or the other, I don't know if you understand me, because of one sentiment or the other, we can easily decentralize. We have a unitary judiciary system, unitary. States do not even have their own appeal courts. And I've asked, why can't we structure our judicial system in such a way that states can have their own appeal court to try state offenses? State offenses, when you try to appeal it, it gets to appeal court, it gets to Supreme Court. How many judges do we have at the Supreme Court? About 21 or thereabouts. How many divisions do we have at the appellate level? I mean, the appeal courts, judicials. So the point is, we don't want to restructure. We are still operating Nigeria the way it used to be from 1960, apart from creation of multiple states and other things. What do you think have changed? Nothing. Nothing. The truth remains that we can't continue like this. Many people have been denied justice in this country. Many people, they have been denied justice, there is no doubt. And many have cried for justice. Most of these activities of Boko Haram, bandits, insurgents, these activities have left many people hopeless, displaced, and disenfranchised. And today, these souls, many that have died, they are crying for what? One thing, justice. And the country, from the way and manner its judicial system, its judicial structure, cannot provide that very justice. And you think that those who are there, if they are, because there are those who believe in Indishi and Digede, you know that, Franklin, I know you understand what I mean, that these people that die in such ways, what do you think will be their prayer for us? What do you think will be their prayer for us? So I've said many times that it is, in fact, disturbing that we keep repeating the same thing, hoping for different results. Look at number of those who have been in prison for, they are still undergoing trial. Trial will take 20 years, 15 years. But they don't have manpower, and the best way is to decentralize. Why would you model up state offense to federal offense? Because for a state offense to get to appeal court, quit for me, is under the jurisdiction of the federal government, even to the Supreme Court, because the state assembly cannot make law for appeal court. The state assembly cannot make law for Supreme Court. They can, but they can make laws for their own courts. Can't we have appeal court at the state level? If we don't want to have Supreme Court for the state, at least let's have, because most cases like this do terminate at the appellate level. Is a way to go, and nobody is talking about such reforms. Nobody is talking about gender days. In fact, in US, that's where federalism works. Sometimes you don't have license to practice in every state. I don't want to, sound so soft for those who are into the business. That's to tell you that there is division of labor. Without division of labor, you cannot have efficiency.
All right, so let's get now to politics, because yesterday the Federal High Court in Abuja affirmed the Nana Osman-led caretaker committee as the valid leadership of Labour Party, and ordered the INEC to recognize them as such, which was a judgment which was delivered by Justice Peter Leifu, and that judge upheld the Nana Osman-led committee as the only valid and lawful leadership of Labour Party, reaffirming that Judas Abure's tenure had a lapse in line with an earlier Supreme Court judgment. That is what it is now. And those who are on the camp of Nana Osman, they have been jubilating, hailing the court for giving a judgment they believe was justice. But for those who are on the side of Abure, they believe that the Federal High Court misinterpreted the judgment of Supreme Court, and they have vowed that they are going to go to appeal court to appeal the judgment. According to Abure and Co., by the time they must have gotten the certified true copy of the judgment, they are going to study it and then see how they are going to further in their bid to appeal. So, Tony, now that a court has made, categorical pronouncement that Abure's tenure is over, would that change anything?
They said they will appeal, right? Was that not what they said? But in the interim, the judgment of the court subsists. It does subsist. What the court did was to interpret the ruling of the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court did mention that Abure's tenure had long expired. And even INEC in one of the letters they wrote to Labour Party when they were making case that their candidates were not included or their candidates were omitted in one of the state elections. They were told that you can't bring in list of candidates from Abure, with the expression Supreme Court made in its judgment that Abure tenure has long expired. Somebody who has had a long expired tenure coming back for one thing or the other. And people started saying that why the Supreme Court and why INEC acknowledged that was because P2B had left. If he had not left, they may not have made such that we are those who were making that statement, but everybody's entitled to the opinion. But INEC made that very clear that Abure, you can't make claims to nominate candidates for any position. You don't have any tenure. And now, Justice Peter Luffy, remember this man? You remember how Fubara talked down on this judge? Remember when the issue of River State crisis started? It was Peter Luffy that made a sounding judgment that looked as if the judgment favored Wike. And in the reaction, Fubara talked down and descended on the judge. But now he's the one who had, he's the one who has made who has given this judgment. So Abure is a political merchant. That's what it appears, unless he proves otherwise. Yes, he has to prove otherwise. And we've seen him at every point. He wants to be the national chairman of a political party. There are so many gains in being a national chairman of a party that can boast of a governor. Remember, Abia State is still under Labour Party. There's no doubt. And they have, I don't know if they still have any member at the Senate. It's like all of them have defected.
Almost.
Even at the Federal House of Representatives. So Abure has done so much damage to the Labour Party. He has done so much damage to the party, and to the point that the party is in coma. Labour Party is in coma.
So do you expect anything to change from the side of INEC? Whether INEC is now going to recognize Nadi Osman as the authentic leader of Labour Party, perhaps do the needful on its website. Is that going to happen? Do you see that happening?
I don't know, because if they do that, what if the other one happens? And the other one that many have thought about, remember that one is, if they recognize this man, what if this man comes back again?
So is it going to be that INEC is going to wait until Labour Party has explored all the gamut of legal processes, maybe gets to Supreme Court again? Because but is that allowable?
For me,
is that allowable?
For me, you must have a leadership of a political party on INEC website. Reason being that you cannot deny a political party leadership. It's either a recognized one or the other. As we speak now, PDP has no leader. Or if you go to INEC website, see PDP has no leadership. Let me put it that way. There's no leadership as far as PDP is concerned. If you go to INEC website, I don't know. I think the last person you will see there will be somebody who has handed over. You remember the man who has handed over?
Damagun,
that's the name you will see there. And as if Damagun brings anything, they will even accept it. They will not accept it. But they just have it there on the nominal basis. That's why they have it there. Not that if Damagun brings anything, they will entertain it. So why do you have Damagun right on your website when you cannot entertain anything from him? That is double standard. The same thing is applicable to Labour. If you go to INEC website, I don't know, Abure is still there. Is Abure still there?
I'll run through and see.
Find out. You may be surprised Abure name will be there. Not if Abure brings something, because Abure has nominated some people as a candidate of Labour Party. They rejected it. But if you go to the website, you may still see his name there. So
no, it's possible, because it's possible. But what you're looking at is, now that we have this situation, one is that INEC on their own had recognized that Abure's tenure had expired. In that letter, INEC wrote to a Labour Party regarding their push for their candidates to be recognized for FCT local council poll. And now we now have a court with authority ordering INEC to recognize. So are we going to see any change in the coming days? It might not be today, but in the coming days, are we going to see that very change from INEC?
It will be surprising. I wouldn't rule it out. I may not rule it out, but it will be surprising because INEC has shown their own bias. They have shown their own inclination, but I'm not going to rule it out. They have been given mandatory order because INEC may even remind you there's two other litigations that they would also wait until these litigations are dispensed with. So now, they may tell you that.
Okay, if that happens, would that in any way alter opposition parties' politics ahead of 2027?
Why? Well, I will tell you that it is going to be another twist. It's going to be another twist because if the Nadi Usman is recognized now by INEC, which many may not be comfortable because of the labor effect. I don't know the effect, though it has watered down, but we will always refer to that effect. But it has watered down. Labor is no more that labor. And I have always said, people expecting repetition of what happened in 2023, well, I will always say they have to have a rethink. Because those who are playing political chess game, they have got their knights, they have got their queens, they have got their bishops well protected. So the part is INEC may not do this in any foreseeable time, but they may likely do it. They may like to buy time. You know that kind of thing. You know, when you buy time, you put the other person
now so let's look at these very permutations. If INEC eventually gets to recognize Nadilet Usman as the authentic leader of the Labour Party, then we have Dati Ahmed, who is on the sidelines, you know, saying that he has a presidential ambition in as much as he has not declared. And we know that he aligned with Abu-Reled faction. Though the Nadi Usman faction is saying that they are open to reconciliation. So given that if all these things play out now, how do you think that is going to leave Dati Ahmed?
Remember, this case will get to Supreme Court.
Yes.
It has just started. Federal High Court has made a ruling, right? The next will be Appeal Court. The next, and by the time you get to Supreme Court, election will be very close. Very close. So, if you're counting on that, you may get it late. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Now, if the Abure faction decides to explore the whole gamut of this, would it at any point in time amount to abuse of court process? Just like taking a case to Supreme Court again to ask the court to interpret a judgment he delivered. Would that in any way amount to abuse of court process?
I don't think, because remember Abga did something. And remember it started with the other man going to FCT High Court to file contempt against the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakub, saying that he did not fulfill the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. And then it was surprising that the FCT High Court gave him the judgment. And before you know it, his name was added up in the INEC website. So he went to Appeal Court. Appeal Court now smash it. Then he got to Supreme Court. Supreme Court now awarded a cost because that's abuse of court process. Then Supreme Court, out of their wisdom, awarded a cost of 60 million, 20 million on each of those logics that were brought before the court. So it definitely, you ask, would it amount to court, the abuse of court process? Of course, it will amount. But not that if it gets to Supreme Court will throw it out and say it's amount. They will look into it, make ruling, and maybe award cost.
Okay. Now, Tony, let's look at the other issue we have, which is outside politics, but it has implication for governance. The federal government has announced plans to abolish the long-standing higher national diploma HND dichotomy by empowering polytechnics to award degrees in a major reform. The government says that it's aimed at repositioning technical and vocational education as a driver of national development. It was the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, who disclosed this yesterday when he was addressing a high-level retreat of council chairmen, commissioners of education, rectors, registrars, and bosses. And this happened in Abuja. And according to the government, this is going to be a landmark shift. And the minister is saying that it will end decades of discrimination against polytechnic graduates and then get to elevate polytechnics into centers of excellence within Nigeria's higher education system. This is not the very first time we have heard government saying this. In fact, if my memory can serve me right, in the past 4 years, we have read this story not less than 4 times or 3 times that government is going to end this very dichotomy, but it hasn't happened. So this time around, let's see whether the government is going to have the will to be able to follow this to logical conclusion. But where the question lies is now, if this very move is a move in the right direction that is going to affect our education, manpower development, productivity and reward in a very positive light, do you think it's going to impact education, manpower development, productivity in a very positive way?
For me, it's just like unnecessary discrimination. And we've seen this discrimination in many ways. Just like you said, in 2021, the 9th National Assembly passed a bill to end the age-long disparity. We thought that would have made a major milestone. But it faced delays in implementation. In 2023, the Senate considered a bill sponsored by Senator Patrick Ayo Akinjuri to abolish the HND first degree divide. But what happened? That was in 2023. From 2024 down to 2025, there was this momentum with the House passing bills for second reading in March 2025 to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act and replace HND with Bachelor of Technology. That's the way they felt that all these things have been done, but the discrimination exists. They say, you know what, let us amend the Polytechnic Acts instead of this HND of a thing that these people did not want to wipe away from their memory. Let us replace it with Bachelor of Technology. That was in November 9, 2025. I remember Kayode Lagoda sponsored a higher national diploma discrimination prohibition bill, 2004. In fact, he went further to call for harmonization. But by late 2025, the National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, proposed phasing out HND program by 2026 to transition polytechnics into degree awarding institution BTech. But just like I said, you know why that discrimination exists? We must not also rule out some factors. Are you aware that Polytechnic cannot run a master's program or postgraduate program? So you're aware. Most of us don't even know that. Polytechnics cannot. And then we know very well that it is a kind of program that prioritizes practical, industrial-oriented skills. But BAC, that's Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, anything Bachelor attached to it, emphasize theoretical knowledge, research, and broad academic foundation. Polytechnics do not emphasize on research. And research is what develops the world. So you must also amend the curriculum. It's not just about the title and trying to change the surface. What about the foundation?
Because I was about to come to that area. Because this issue of dichotomy between, BSc holders and the HND holders. Because I've been asking myself whether it's about a problem of the name of the certification or it's a problem of the mindset and society. Take for instance, sometimes when you're applying for certain jobs, you will see academic qualifications as BSc or its equivalent, or they will tell you BSc or HND. And in Nigeria, we normally see HND as an equivalent of a BSc. But what we do see is that when you go to government establishment, when it comes to promotion, when it comes to remuneration, those who hold HND are seen as lesser beings. They are seen as they do not qualify to be in the same cadre with those who have BSc or BA. And for a long time, we have seen that it's been in our system. Sometimes somebody is due for promotion, but because the person has a HND, the person cannot go beyond certain cadre. Sometimes you go to banks, you see somebody who is on BA, maybe earning like 500,000, doing the same job with somebody with HND, and the person with HND is earning less than 500,000 because of that dichotomy we have created for a long time. So that issue of that problem, like you said, is it a matter of the name given to the certificate, or the problem of our system and our mindset?
I think it's not a problem of the name given to this certificate. As we said earlier on, it's not a name. It is more like in your community now. Let's be real. Sometimes we try to avoid some of these issues. You have a share. You have... There is hierarchy. If you want to abolish dichotomy, make the technical education to be research-based. You must make it to be what a university should be. I'm not encouraging discrimination, because I'm saying that there are so many things university do that these people do not. So you must also factor those things.
So are we trying to model things up here? You know why? I'm talking about Nigeria now.
Okay.
The purpose of university education is different from the purpose of polytechnic education. For university, university focuses on broad theoretical knowledge and research.
Exactly.
Then you now look at polytechnic, which emphasizes applied, hands-on, skill-based technical education.
Exactly.
Which, in the real sense of it, polytechnics might produce the product that industries need. Because industries need people who are knowledgeable and skilled. And we know that if you are going to cast your mind back, polytechnics used to produce better skilled manpower than university. But things have changed. Now we now see polytechnics running courses similar to what is being done in universities. Today you go to polytechnics who don't even have any lab for any teaching, and we are running the kind of education. So are we missing the foundation we need to fix before talking about how do we now convert them to degree awarding institution, or how to fill out this very dichotomy?
I've said many times, just like they said, they want to amend the act. It's not about changing the title. There are things you also need to change in the curriculum. And just like you pointed out earlier on, Polytechnic also engage in applied research system, unlike university that goes into broad, deep academic research. And we've said many times that if you look at the main difference between academic research and applied research, their primary goals, their motivation, scope, methods, and outcomes. Academic research refers to basic, pure, fundamental, and foundational research, which takes root in a lot of things. But if you look at the major goal of such research to expand general knowledge, understand fundamental principles, fill gaps in theory, satisfy intellectual curiosity, it asks questions like why, how things work at a deep, these are things that are about academic research. But if you talk about applied research, just to solve specific practical problem, immediately just to solve a specific practical immediate problem, address the real world needs. If not academic research, I don't want to go deep into this. Most of the advances made in area of medicine, in area of pharmacy, in area of health generally, these are products of extensive academic. Polytechnics cannot run these courses. Hope you are aware. They cannot. So, but the truth is, yes, for the basics, just like you said, BTech, fine and good. Because you can't continue with this history of HND, the dichotomy will be there. People from university see those from polytechnics as lesser graduates. Let's put it that way. They see them as lesser graduates. They see them as not being at my level. I conducted extensive research, defended this research before a panel, and then asked the real question, how, why, all these things. And you that went and did some wiring connection and did some plumbing work and do this and come and tell us how you did those things. They see them say, you can't measure us. We are scholars, but you are artisans. University graduates call themselves scholars. I'm referred to polytechnics as artisans. See, it is, though there are other things, just like you said, it is also a thing of mind. It's a thing of mindset. But for us to wipe out this dichotomy, we can also introduce some kind of research, done in universities, in polytechnics. It might not really be as broad as, but you must include it in the curriculum to expand their knowledge base, not just about solving the real world problems. And also upgrade their title from HND to BTech. I don't even understand. Going that way will help a lot. Just like I said, they may not run the master programs that involves deep research methodologies. They may not run these programs. They may not. And one will tell you, after all, the rector of most polytechnics are doctorate degree holders. But you cannot be a doctorate degree holder and become a vice chancellor of a university. These are things that are, usually talked about. And even they will tell you that your lecturers cannot become your lecturer without going to university to advance the course of his or her knowledge before becoming your lecturer at polytechnic level. And when there are a lot, but the most important thing, let's end the dichotomy. And with what the National Assembly did say this time around, that we have worked the other way, it never worked. Let us work this way by ensuring that we remove the HND and the ND stuff and then replace it with BTech.
Okay, let's go for this very commercial break. We'll be right back to take your calls.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, how about you turn it to yellow? Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, teacher, and do Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread, and in town. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body, choma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
ọrịa arụbara na ọrịa osinikuku akpọrọ rubella bụ ọrịa ogbu na nwayọ. Ha bụ ndị nke na-agbasa ngwa ngwa ma bụrụ nke na-akpatara mmadụ ikpu isi, imebi ụbụrụ isi, atụ ọpụọ, ọtụtụ mgbe na-abụ ọnwụ.
Ụbọchị ọbụla nwatakịrị ụmụafọ ala Naịjirịa nọ n'ihe egwu mana enwere ozi ọma, ọgwụ mgbochi ga-echekwaba nwa gị. Gọọmenti Anambra Steeti bụ ndị na-achịkọba ọrụ ịgba ọgwụ mgbochi malite n'ụmụaka ndị a mụrụ ọhụrụ wee ruo n'afọ 14 nke ga-amalite site n'abalị 4 ruo abalị 15 nke ọnwa February afọ 2026 iji wechekwaba ụmụaka nọ n'ime steeti a pụọ na ya bụ ọrịa ogbu na nwayọ. Kpọga ụmụaka gị malite n'ọnwa 9 wee ruo n'afọ 14 maka ịgbagha ọgwụ mgbochi nyere ọrịa rubara na ọrịa osinikuku akpọrọ rubella tata. Gbaa ụmụaka gị ọgwụ mgbochi ndị a niile malite n'ụbọchị a mụrụ ka. Ọ bụ na agbachanya bụ ọgwụ mgbochi ndị a ga-agakwa n'ihu wee na-agba ya n'ụlọ nlekọta ahụike niile e nwere n'ime steeti a. Ọgwụ mgbochi a dị mma ma na-alụ ọrụ gwogwo. Ọ bụkwa nke a kwụrụ ụgwọ ya site n'aka gọọmenti. Nya bụ echenekwa ka agwa gị gaa n'ụlọ nlekọta ahụike ọbụla dị gị nso ma ọ bụ n'ebe a na-agbanya bụ ọgwụ mgbochi. Abrapụkwana nwa gị n'akụkụ. Ozi a si n'aka gọọmenti Anambra Steeti na ndị ga ha na-ejikọtara aka n'ọrụ ịgba ọgwụ mgbochi.
You're listening to Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved.
Okay, so you're listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Frank Nebek, and it's now time for us to open the phone lines to take your calls. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, my chief speaker, Tony Olisa.
You're welcome.
Of Honorable the Mayor, Okuchume, JP, Okulola, Ochen Umezeke Nogi. Go on.
Yes, go on.
Yes, let me first of all join my voice with your voice to say that what you people said about polytechnic and university is clear, because it's just like what happens when we are in school. When you go secondary school and when you go different, what do they call it? They call it I forgot what they call it. If you go that one, they will see you as a person that is learning carpentry or learning one thing or the other. But secondary school, they take it high. Yes. But now, there's what Tony Olisa said about 3 days ago or 4 days ago. Even our university, we have to change the curriculum. Now, we are still operating on those archaic things, archaic studies. And that was the reason, after going through university, when you come out, there's no work. Everybody is looking for white-collar jobs. What had it been now that the university now, they teach all these type of things that Tony mentioned, like fashioning, like different type of jobs, skills. When you come out like this, if there's no job, you become self-employed. Immediately. Yes. But yeah, after going to university, you see such person riding keke or going back to business or going back to one local job or the other because there's no job. But had it been that they do what they're supposed to do in university, I think we can have many job seekers. Then, also, I want to make an impact on this Labour Party. Like Tony Olisa said, I think they have the sort has lost faith, and I don't think it's so much. One, the people that prefer that party to become what it is, most of them have started. They have gone to another party. I don't think it is going to be good for them. So let me just then insecurity.
All right, thank you. You have spoken a whole lot. Hello, good morning. Okay, try again. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
I am Uche from Ela.
Go on, Mr. Uche.
I want to ask, this senator from Abuja, that woman, I thought that woman is in the Labour Party. She left.
Who?
The senator that was having a fight with a weekend.
Okay, Senator Kingibe.
Huh?
Kingibe, right?
Yes, Kingibe.
She has declared for the ADC.
Wow. Okay. Now, for what I'm saying, I think one of senators from Abia State, from Abia Central, Senator Dalite Wukocha, is still in Labour Party.
Yes, I think so, yes.
Yes, that Wukocha from Shelangwa South. A senator representing Abia South, Abia Central rather. This is still in Labour Party. So we still have one left. And for about the Labour Party saga, when I was listening to P2B the day he was joining the coalition, P2B has not put in his letter of resignation to the Labour Party in his word. He has, I think he has. But the way things are going, I think this man called Abure was hired and was being paid to destroy the party. P2B was behind this man, I'm seeing P2B with some members of this coalition joining the Labour Party in this election. Because I'm seeing something happen in the Labour Party. Therefore, let's OT is still a member of the Labour Party, and I'm sure he's still with P2B. Very soon, we'll feel a shock. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Thank you for joining. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
My name is Ebert Kuka.
Your name is?
About Chuka.
Okay, go on, Chukwuka.
Yes, sir. So, a thing that I'm putting out is inside that bandit people.
Okay.
So, let the government to put eyes on all those things. Because we have said it so that that was last year, December period, when the US President struck Sokoto State. He said that the bandits cannot fold their hands. And that time up to yet, they're patrolling every the north, no part of the north, dealing with the people, which is very bad. What government has put their hands in terms of the issues? It's not good. Because if you say that it is their own sons and daughters that all these bandits are dealing with, they can stop all those things for why. Please, I don't have much to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, your name?
You are in the studio. This is Evangelist Richard.
Evangelist?
What I want to say concerning the Labour Party, whether they have removed the Abure or they have not.
Okay.
Each of you should remember where he is. That may be a trap. They might want to use to bring him back and disappoint him. So he should remember where he is and never look at running back again. That's what I want to say.
Okay. Thank you. Evangelist. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. You do me this very favor.
I'm calling from Onitsha.
Okay. All right. Okay, sorry. Please, if you can call back, that would be appreciated. Please, when you call in and we take your call, do all this very favor. Walk away from your radio set or turn down the volume so that can help us to hear you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. I'm not hearing you properly. Hello, my name is Henry.
Stanley, go on, we can hear you.
Okay. What I'm talking about is about the Polytechnic and the university.
Okay.
Next Polytechnic. If you want to go to Polytechnic, get your OMD, get your HND. Go that side. If you want to go to university, you want to make degrees, bachelor and so forth, go that side. Let them leave them as they are. The dichotomy as it is, it's okay. Instead of causing confusion, do this and do that, they should leave it. Who won't go university, go university. Who won't go poly, go poly. That's all. You can still go poly and go to university after all. Is that not possible? So that is it.
Okay.
That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for joining. Hello, good morning.
Hello? Good morning.
Good morning.
Frank. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Turn off, God. I got to move my leg.
Hello, we can hear you. Your name?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was quite pleased about Istanbul and her move. I know that Abure is not going anywhere. I've always said that. He just came in. It was just a spoiled, obedient movement. And thank goodness. But then, the obedient movement have to be very careful. We have to see how things will pan out. Because how they got they just got it like that from what I see. It's a bit funny. So if we can win it like that Labour Party under Namadi, it's good. It will be good. But if it goes otherwise, then we are still obedient. That's right. Okay, Dada, good afternoon.
Good morning. I'm here.
Hopefully, no.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you for joining your voice. Good morning. Hello. Okay. Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
I'm calling from Asara. My name is Nibude.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yes, please, I want to contribute to your program. I used to listen to it.
Go on.
There is one thing that Dr. Tony is going to discuss. very interested in it. The issue is even affecting us. Our constitution and the judiciary are not hitting the matter. One of our brother has an issue, and all this while from almost 3 to 4 years now, they detain him, and after all, the God give us the issue. Since then, they are issuing another. Even the person that has their issue, that they have settled them everything. He did not commit any crime. So, because of the issue of land matter, and at the end, that thing is Zona. Somebody just from Lagos State, and they brought him to Guinea. And since all they have been borrowing money, even me now, I'm now in debt just because of this issue. As the money we have, we borrow here, people are chasing us. They release him to go from Abuja. And at the end of the day, I don't know whether the law is that the warder in that station or the people are bigger than the chief judge or the chief judge of this country. I don't know how we are going to help us. The money that we are supposed to use for the children's school fees and everything, we borrow from there. They're even looking for that's why I left Lagos State down to Savannah. We have friends who cannot pay. I don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. It's just that we are just today bring money, they will release it tomorrow. That is what we have. Since on the month of May, I've been in Asaba because of people that can pay. Some of my sisters, my brothers, even some people will borrow money here and there. They will release it today, tomorrow we will not. They will tell us again the story. Even the lawyer that is in charge of this issue, he was coming from Lagos State, since they got him out of 233 down to this State Oko prison. Since then, he was even coming. One of the fatal accidents they have, God just saved the man. 2 people died instantly. That is in between after Christmas and the New Year. We have been waiting this thing all this while. We borrow money here and there. Money is finished. Not even me now to pay for us next now. We cannot pay. I'm just fortunate.
All right. All right.
So I don't know how we are going to how people are going to help me. Even to go anywhere now from Asaba to Gogologo, I cannot go because there's no money. I'm fortunate.
All right. Okay.
Our housing money, children's school fees, even my brothers, other people, we borrow friends, and even the church.
All right. We have heard you. We have heard you. So let's see. Before we end the program, let's see what advisory we can drop for you before we end the program. Okay. Thank you for dropping by. Then on our Facebook page, John Chukwemeka and the Amasichibuzo. Okay. Thank you for dropping by. Zakwa Celestine says, with what happened in Kaduna, it's quite obvious that kidnapping and banditry is someone's business. If not, tell me. Okay, he says it's quite obvious that kidnapping and banditry is someone's business, if not government's. But I tell you, a credible government will soon emerge, and police as an institution will be mauled. Okay, I suppose maybe should be mauled. I don't know, but I'm just trying to presume. Chimezie Steven says it's unwise for the government to ban motorcycle when they can't provide quality roads, just like what is happening in Anambra State. But the right thing to do is to ban motorcycle with high speed limit so that people can manage their lives with small motorcycles. Banning it completely is wickedness, looking at the rate of poverty in Nigeria. Kevin C. Obidiegu Simon, thank you all for following. So Tony, the woman that called from Asaba, I don't know if you have any advisory you can drop for her.
I didn't get some of the things she actually said.
Talking about the court case they have, back and forth. He has taken their money. They don't even have money to continue this very case. So if there's any kind of advice that could be offered to her,
I guess the only advice we'll give to her is to keep trying. That is it, because we've called for decentralization of judicial system. We have manpower challenge as far as judiciary is concerned. And most of these judges, they take up many cases, write these cases, and we must provide infrastructure. Apart from few times I've cited IC or courts with digital infrastructure, most of our courts are analog. I want situations where people can file cases digitally, cases assigned digitally, and there are so many recording devices judges will definitely deploy to make the work easy for them. It's so in South Africa, it's so in Kenya, in some places in Ghana. Why can't we get these things here? Our judicial system not just being analog, having so many challenges. That is why justice seems to be a routine case of denial. And just keep trying. We need reform, massive reform in that very sector. And just like I was listening to institutions that people do not trust, judiciary is number 5. Didn't I say it so? From a survey. So that is one. And then somebody was saying that you don't ban motorcycle. There are some security measures you take. Safety first before anything. And people don't prioritize security and safety. We are talking about safety. We are talking about the lives of people that have been impoverished already. What we are talking about is let them not even die, because we've seen that impoverishment already. We are talking about let them not die off just that way. So safety comes first, security comes first, and then it must be prioritized before any other thing. So if you ban motorcycle, it's not going to be permanent ban until security improves in some areas. These things can be taken off. And you wouldn't say that we did that in Anambra State without quality roads. The ones you are seeing, are they not roads? Please, let's be mindful of our statements.
Okay, so on that very note, we end today's conversation. But before we go, you have to listen to this very announcement. Vacancy. This is to inform general public that due to expansion, Oluchukwu Microfinance Bank Limited is currently making some recruitment. Interested candidates who are graduates of accountancy, banking and finance, business administration, marketing and economics should submit their applications, CVs and one passport photograph to the head office at Basilica Square, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity in Onitsha, or any of our branches nearest to you on or before Wednesday, 28 January 2026. Qualifications: OND, HND, BSc. Signed, management. So on that very note, we end today's conversation. I will thank you for joining us. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.
104.7